So we got another video, and it's Matthew Geist. He says he's ranking the top 25 NFL free agents this offseason. The Broncos no longer have the Russell Wilson dead cap, so I'm actually excited to see who he has ranked because I think we want Isaiah Likely. I think we want a good tight end out of free agency. I think we want a good lineman maybe out of free agency. Maybe an upgrade for Alex Singleton. So we also have a bunch of other teams like Thunder's a Vikings fan. He's in the chat. I think the Steelers probably want some upgrades too. What else, chat? Who else has, like a team? But we're going to talk about the free agents. I'm going to, interject and be like, I think that they should be retired, but let's get into it.
So we are approaching conference championship weekend, but 28 other teams have their eyes focused on the 2026 offseason, and they're going to be looking
got a nice
to
ticker
upgrade
in the
their team
background, too.
throughout free agency. So for today's video, I'm going to rank the top 25 NFL free agents we're going to see
That's good.
possibly
Word.
change teams this spring. And I'm not factoring in any potential cut candidates because it's really tough to predict who's going to end up getting cut. That could also happen like after June 1st as well. And some of the guys that we're going to talk about here today may not switch their teams at all. They may just end up getting tagged. But right now, we're just looking at guys that are going to be free agents. And honestly, when you're looking between like 15 to 25, there's a bunch of different guys that you could just throw into that 10-person group. So I have a lot of honorable mentions. First one is Reek Woolen of that loaded Seattle Seahawks defense. I have Isaiah Likely, the tight end that's most likely going to leave Baltimore. Maybe a new New York Giant with his old head coach John Harbaugh now coaching the G-Men. David Njoku with the emergence of Harold Fenton. It makes a ton of sense.
Njoku too, but I want to say this about like Likely and then Njoku, and I'm going to move on really quick. I would rather Isaiah Likely on the Broncos than Njoku because we could have drafted Njoku. I don't think that Isaiah Likely, I think, would be a net positive for our team, whereas David Njoku wasn't a fit back then. I don't think he's a fit now. Somebody literally Super Bowl is literally young Brady versus the Seahawks again. Yeah, kind of Zeus. Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks get their revenge, hopefully so.
For him to move on. Javonte Williams had a really nice 1 year in Dallas. Maybe he ends up re-signing, maybe not. Joey Bosa, will he stay in Buffalo? We'll see. And Nakobe Dean could have definitely made this list as well. So starting off here at 25, we have a Green Bay Packers receiver, Romeo Doubs. It feels like Romeo Doubs could be a breakout wide receiver in the 55 catches. I could see those all being career highs next year on a new team. So coming in at number 24, I have Travis Etienne.
Honestly, Doubs, just run the ball. The issue, one more thing I guess we're going to talk about. Pete Carroll didn't make a bad call. Malcolm Butler just intercepted the pass, bro. But yeah. It was, that sucks. Should have just ran the ball. You had 3 plays. But yeah. Romeo Doubs, whatever team he does end up going to, as long as they have a quarterback, he'll have good numbers. I believe that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. Etienne was a first-round pick back in the 2021 draft with Najee Harris in that draft, but the Steelers did not pick up Najee Harris's fifth-year option. The Jaguars did.
You can't say he made a bad call because a slant over the middle is normally a catchable. A slant over the middle, you do it in Madden. You just have to watch the linebacker and not throw it in between the linebacker. So, yeah, the run is the better call, but a passing play isn't the end of the world right there. Unfortunately, Malcolm Butler's just in the linebacker slot and intercepts the slant. So it looks like a really horrible pass. So, Russell should have just thrown the ball out of bounds. He had time in the pocket. He could have gotten. But that's 10 years ago. The Seahawks are getting their revenge. They should have run out the ball.
Is a dynamic running back who still has great speed and agility, and if you really take out his injury
you have 3
2024 season, he's had a very good start to his career. 1,125 yards in 2022 because he tore his ACL in 2021. He had 1,000 yards in 2023. Like I said, was banged up last year, just 558 yards throughout 15 games, but never really looked like his true self. This year under Liam Cohen, 1,107 yards, 260 carries, 7 touchdowns. He also had about 3 300 yards in the receiving game as well. So if you take out those hamstring issues from 2024, this could be a very dynamic running back on the market. Last year, the running back for wasn't the greatest on paper, where it was headlined by the aforementioned Najee Harris. You had Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle, Elijah Mitchell, Nick Chubb. It wasn't great. And I wonder if maybe Jacksonville is going to tag Travis Etienne, given that just the tag amount is $14 million for the running back position, the lowest out of any position outside of special teams. So Jacksonville could look to do that with Travis Etienne, or it could be a nice free agency pickup for somebody else. The Seahawks are going to have their work cut out for them in the offseason, as well as Boye Mafe is going to be a free agent. He's coming in at number 23. He was the 40th overall pick back in that 2022 NFL draft out of Minnesota, and he's been vital to the Seattle Seahawks, having arguably the best defense in the NFL this season, going to the conference championship game as a
and the Super Bowl. We're watching this after
in about 17 games. He had 2 sacks in 15 games this year, but if he could be a full-time starter somewhere else, you could definitely see Mafe's potential as an edge one for a team, just because he hasn't really been a full-time starter under Mike McDonald in Seattle. That's why his pressure numbers or sack numbers don't look great. I think he can get over $10 million he's probably not re-signing this spring. One of the more polarizing free agents coming in at number 22, you may know him as maybe a meme player in fantasy, Kyle Pitts. Yeah, Kyle Pitts is cracking my top 25 because I still think this guy could be a tight end one day. The 25-year-old is going to be going into year number 6. He got his 5th-year option picked up from the Atlanta Falcons. We know Kevin Stefanski really liked his tight ends in Cleveland. He could do the same if they decide to re-sign Kyle Pitts, or if he goes somewhere else. I would want to see him in Kansas City to replace Travis Kelce.
No, I don't want to see Kyle Pitts in Kansas City. No.
He never really had a good connection with Desmond Ridder or Michael Penix, but he really flourished with guys like Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins. He ended up finishing off the season 88 catches, a career high on 118 targets, also a career high, with a career high 5 touchdowns. He had 928 yards, the most he has had since his 1,000-yard rookie season back in 2021. He finished off with 166 yards against Tampa Bay.
It's like, as a Broncos fan, I know I keep pausing, but I just want to talk about what you are saying. Like, I don't hate any team. Like, Duncan's a Chargers fan. It's like, I don't think to hate any team. It's just annoying when it's like the Chiefs have won so much and their fans get cocky. That's when it gets annoying. So it's like, I'm glad to see something new, but at the same time, the Chiefs are going to be back next year because all they have to do is get a good draft going, get like 1 or 2 free agent signings, and they're back. So it's like, as a Broncos fan, I hate to see that, but I never want to see a team not succeed. So it just sucks.
Yards against that loaded Seattle Seahawks defense, 82 yards against the Jets, 57 yards and a touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. And he also fumbled a ball into the end zone this year as well. So we could have had 6 touchdowns at the end of the day. We just saw Mark Andrews get about $39 million. Given Pitts' age and his catching ability, I would give him more than that on the open market. That's why I have him coming in at number 22.
He's better than Mark Andrews in my opinion.
As well. We got another pass catcher coming in here at number 21, and that is going to be Wan'Dale Robinson of the New York Giants. Like Pitts, Wan'Dale Robinson really flourished towards the end of this year's season, having 156 yards against the Detroit Lions in that overtime game. He had 54 yards against the Commanders. He had 113.
That's what's important about value. Like, you got to show out at the end of the year. So, like, a lot of these dudes are going to have, like, their value surge, and there's other that have the, vice versa. Like, George Patton's got to find the free agents with less value because they kind of dipped off at the end of the year, but they're good, if that makes sense.
Yards against the Raiders, but he also had 95 yards against the Broncos, 84 yards against the Eagles. A lot better defenses. He posted career highs across the board. 92 catches, 1,014 yards, and 4 touchdowns in about 15 games as a starter this season. But at 5'8", 185 pounds, that could affect his market dollar amount going into the offseason. He only dropped 3 passes this past year, though, and hopefully the ADOT will be a little bit better somewhere else when he's not catching balls from kind of backups throughout his career. Looked a little bit better with Jackson Dart. Maybe the Giants end up re-signing him, but they're going to get Malik Neighbors back. They could also draft a receiver as well. A team may look for Wan'Dale Robinson as a nice, speedy slot receiver moving forward. And this may be the biggest boom or bust free agent out there. Malik Willis of the Green Bay Packers is coming in at number 20 for me. Malik Willis has not really been a full-time starter in a few years. He was drafted 86th overall back in the 2022 draft out of Liberty to the Tennessee Titans, but it never really worked out in Tennessee. He ends up getting traded in the 2024 offseason to a lot better of an environment and a more quarterback-friendly coach in Matt LaFleur. at LaFleur in Green Bay. He was Jordan Love's backup last year when Jordan Love
I
got
love
hurt.
seeing like
He won
short
both of
athletes
his games.
like
This year,
thrive, bro,
though,
like
we got to
Darren
see about
Sproles
2
from the
games from Malik
Saints.
Willis as a starter. Jordan Love gets hurt against the Chicago Bears. He has 121 yards and a touchdown, 9 of 11 throwing, and then he went 18 of 21 against the Baltimore Ravens for 288 yards
Or like
and a
Kyler
touchdown
Murray,
on a
too.
Saturday night game in December. Malik Willis is still just 26 years old. So we're going to talk about some veteran quarterback free agents that could be on the market. Malik Willis is somebody that is still very young in this league, that is still extremely raw, and you could look to develop going forward. He's
Which is
fairly
very
mobile,
valuable.
Which allows him to be a great
You want to throw
thrower
money at a
on the
young
run
quarterback,
as well, which
not an
gives you
old
that
one.
dual threat aspect, who has thrown a semi-good deep ball as well. I'd rather take a chance on Malik Willis more so than the Jets taking a chance on Justin Fields last offseason. And I wonder if he'll get something similar to that Justin Fields deal, making over $20 million a year, or is it going to be something less than $10 million a year?
Like,
Maybe it's going to be a couple years of security under
11,
his belt,
12
maybe
mil.
like what Mac Jones got in San Francisco.
wild.
And I feel like there's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there. My Pittsburgh Steelers, the Miami Dolphins, maybe it's going to be a team like the Cleveland Browns or the Las Vegas
if does
Raiders,
he have
the
Tua
Atlanta
a
Falcons,
year?
the Arizona Cardinals. The teams are endless that could really try to go out and get Malik Willis
Ooh,
on a 1 and 2 year
Cardinals,
deal. Coming
Malik
in at
Willis,
number
I can see
19
that.
is a former first-round pick that just had the best year of his career as he's heading towards free agency. Devin Lloyd of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the former Utah Ute, did not get his 5th-year option picked up by Jacksonville, so he followed it up with a 5-interception season, leading all linebackers in interceptions. He even had that pick six, that electric pick six against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. He was elected to an All-Pro second team this year. He had about 81 tackles throughout 15 games, 10 quarterback hits.
We let Alex Singleton go. We signed Lloyd for like 10 mil more. Interesting.
6 tackle for losses. He had a fumble recovery as well, but he definitely picked the right time to have the best year of his career.
Yep.
There's a lot of teams that could use him as an off-ball linebacker that's good in coverage. And if he could maybe fix up the missed tackle rate, he could be a great bang for your buck in free agency. Still just 27 years old. Coming in at 18, we have the first corner that we're going to talk about, and that's going to be Jalen Watson of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have a lot of big financial decisions to make this offseason, which could allow Watson to sign with a new team over the next few months. Watson got off to a slower start in his career, but he's been developing year by year. He was a 7th-round pick back in that 2022 draft, and he started 15 games for the Chiefs this season. He had 2 interceptions, he had 2 sacks, he had 64 tackles, and he gave up 5 touchdowns in 2023 and hasn't allowed one since. He's 6'2", about 200 pounds. You can really use him in a bunch of different systems as well. PFF really liked him this year. He broke up a ton of passes. He played over 2,000 snaps. He doesn't really get a ton of penalties. Like, this could be in that DJ Reed.
Now that I think about it, the Seahawks go to the Super Bowl without DK, yeah. Sucks. I really wanted to see like DK and Lockett get one, but you know, it just sometimes the timing isn't right, you know.
Carlton Davis, Javarius Ward, dollar amount that we saw those guys get a year ago. Coming in at number 17, I have Jamel Dean of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When he's been healthy, he has been one of the best corners in this game, but that's the big thing with Jamel Dean, because over his 7-year career, he's never played a full season. He's played 13 games in 2023, 12 games in 2024, and 14 games in 2025. He did have 3 interceptions this year, 9 pass deflections. He had a sack, 46 tackles for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he's dealt with hamstring injuries in his career. He's turning 30 years old next season as well. He took a pay cut to stay with Tampa Bay under Todd Bowles in 2025. I think he would want to get at least one last big payday of his career. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in Tampa Bay because they have some other free agents they got to worry about. They're paying Baker Mayfield a ton of money, and this could even be a transition offseason for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers given that they didn't make the playoffs this year. But Dean, on maybe a short-term deal, could be one of the more talented defensive backs on the open market. Yeah, we have a little bit of a run here of defensive backs. Coming in at 16, I have Alontae Taylor of the New Orleans Saints. I thought Taylor was going to get traded this year, but that didn't end up happening. So maybe New Orleans is going to look to re-sign him this offseason to keep him out there with Kool-Aid McKinstry in that secondary. He had 2 interceptions. He started 16 games for the Saints this year. He had 11 pass deflections as well. He's played more than 1,500 snaps outside, and he can also play in the slot as well, so he could be a little bit more versatile for a bunch of defensive coordinators. He's not the greatest tackler in the world, but he could still be a really good coverage corner, and those guys tend to make a decent amount of money on the open market, and that could be the same with Alontae Taylor. We have another first rounder from the 2022 draft. We have Quay Walker of the Green Bay Packers coming in here at number 15. Quay Walker played 14 games for the Packers this year. He had about 5 pass deflections, 2.5 sacks, 128 total tackles, 8 tackle for losses, 7 QB QB hits as well. And Jeff Hafley, who loved him in Green Bay, got the best out of him in the 2025 season, and maybe he's going to end up being a Miami Dolphin. Who knows? He's still super versatile over the middle of the field as well. And I would say is a very solid coverage linebacker. It was a little shocking when Green Bay did not pick up his 5th-year option as well. And I do think he can make a lot of money.
I don't know why they didn't.
A lot of comparisons are to Zach Bond, who got around $15 million from the Eagles last offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar dollar amount this offseason. So yeah, I'm expecting like Brandon Ayuk to be a free agent, but he's not officially a free agent just yet. So I thought if I played that game with him, I could play with a bunch of other guys. So I just wanted to have it as set on free agents. I do have a 49ers receiver coming in at number 14, Jawan Jennings, who feels like he's going to switch teams this offseason. Jennings has been with San Francisco since 2021. He was vital to them going to the Super Bowl in 2022.
Are you
in
a free
2023, agent? And honestly, I thought was going to win Super Bowl MVP if the 49ers did win. And there's been a lot of turnover with the 49ers receiving game in the last few years, with Deebo Samuel getting traded, Ayuk getting injured. They draft Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle has been banged up. Last year, Jawan Jennings was a monster for San Francisco. He had 975 yards on 113 targets, 77 catches, and about 10 games as a starter. He had 6 touchdowns as well. This year, with the injury to Brock Purdy and an injury to Jawan Jennings, he still had 9 touchdowns, 643 yards on 55 catches. He has super reliable hands. He's not scared to absorb contact over the middle of the field. He played through multiple injuries last year as well, and I think can make over $50 million on a multi-year deal this offseason. Think there's plenty of teams that are looking to add some wide receiver talent as well. So I have to put him here because he's going to be a free agent, but I doubt he leaves Tampa Bay. So coming in at number 13, I have Mike Evans. Mike Evans, for the first time in his career since being drafted back in 2014, he did not have 1,000 receiving yards. He just had 368 this year.
I think that is one reason I could see him leaving, because that was kind of ridiculous how they didn't get him that.
30 catches, 62 targets in 8 games. He had a concussion injury, a shoulder injury. Evans signed a 2-year, $41 million extension with the Bucs before the 2024 season, which is now up, obviously, and I'm sure he's going to sign just a 1-year deal to stay in Tampa Bay. I just can't see Mike Evans in a different jersey. I don't think he would want to be in a different jersey either. I still think Tampa Bay can make the playoffs next year. I don't think they're going to be as good as some of the formidable teams in the NFC, like the Rams or the Seahawks or maybe the Eagles and 49ers, but the Bucs should still be competitive, and I think that's going to be good enough for Mike Evans to stay in Tampa Bay. We haven't really talked about a ton of offensive linemen in this video. We're going to start off here at number 12 and talk about Braden Smith of the Indianapolis Colts. Last year, Braden Smith was banged up a ton for Indy, and you can honestly say over the last 3 years as well, he did miss about 7 games in 2023, 5 games in 2024, and 4 games in 2025. He signed a 4-year, $72 million extension with the Colts in 2021, but he's still 29 years old. I could definitely see Indianapolis looking to go a little bit cheaper at the offensive tackle spot this offseason, given that they may have to pay somebody else that we're going to talk about later in this video. So I do think there's a team that maybe has a little bit more cap space out there that would give Braden Smith the deal he wants. He definitely needs to stay healthy for that contract to be worth it, but if he can stay healthy, he's still one of the more talented offensive tackles in the league. All right, I have to put him here, but he's going to be 43 years old next year in December.
Almost cracked the top 10.
Aaron Rodgers is still making my top 25 because honestly, Aaron Rodgers is still a serviceable quarterback in this league, and there's going to be a quarterback tax in any type of ranking. There's a lot of volatility with Malik Willis, even though he's 17 years younger than Aaron Rodgers. And I thought with everything considered in Pittsburgh, Rodgers was still pretty good for this team as well. I think he would flourish a lot better if he had a better offensive line, maybe a better offensive mind, maybe better wide receiver weapons, a better running back game as well, although Gainwell and Jaylen Warren were definitely good enough this year. So maybe going to a different team where he doesn't have to throw running back swing passes to Jonnu Smith would make a little bit more sense. Shout out to Arthur Smith. But Rodgers this year threw for 3,322 yards. He had 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He went 10-6 as the Steelers starter. He brought them to the playoffs, although it was not very good against Houston. But if you throw Aaron Rodgers on a team like the Minnesota Vikings or in Indianapolis, I think things can end up a little bit better for Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be 43 years old. If he can play like a top 20 quarterback next year in a different environment, that could definitely warrant him being close to a top 10 ranking in this video. Right now, I have him here at number 11. We probably won't know if he's going to retire till like June, to be honest with you. I don't think he stays in Pittsburgh since Mike Tomlin stepped down. I really think all signs are either pointing to Minnesota or maybe retirement. So we talked about Travis Etienne back at 24. I have back-to-back running backs here. First one here at number 10, Breece Hall of the New York Jets. The Jets didn't trade away Breece Hall at the deadline.
I would love Breece Hall, but we already have Harvey, and like we need like a bigger running back. Heard Drake plays in the NFL now. Why'd he quit music? Shut up, bro.
Fine when they were reportedly getting third-round pick offers, because I do believe that they want to maybe tag Breece Hall this offseason. Maybe there'd be a tag and trade. We saw guys like Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs get tags a couple years ago. Breece Hall had the most rushing yards of his career last year, with the Jets basically having an anemic offense for most of the year. He had 243 carries, 1,065 yards, and 4 touchdowns throughout 16 games. He also had 350 receiving yards as well. He could be a great running back in the backfield and out wide as a receiver. Also, I would love to see him in a different offensive system. He's still just 24 years old. I think he could still be a top 7 running back in this league. I'm not sure if that's going to happen with the Jets. I do feel like they're going to tag him, though. And then coming in at number 9, I have his draft class teammate, Kenneth Walker from the 2022 draft. He was the 41st overall pick out of Michigan State, and I think his numbers would look so much better if he wasn't in a split backfield with Zach Charbonnet. This year, Kenneth Walker had 221 carries.
That is true, which is why I don't even think the Broncos should get K9, because we have Dobbins, we have Batty, we have Harvey. We'd have to get rid of Dobbins to get K9, and I don't think that we need to do that.
1,027 yards and 5 touchdowns. He averaged around 60 yards per game. He had about 280 yards in the receiving game as well. He just had a monster performance against the San Francisco 49ers.
And we need to see K9 win Super Bowl. I want to see him win Super Bowl.
In the divisional round last weekend. So 3 touchdowns in a playoff game, 116 yards. He was also great against San Francisco in Week 18. He was great against the Rams, where he had 100 yards and a touchdown in their overtime victory on just 11 rushes. I just would love to see Kenneth Walker as a full-time starter. Zach Charbonnet is going to be out this Sunday against the LA Rams, so we can see Kenneth Walker as a full bell cow, and that may help his dollar amount when his agent is trying to get him re-signed in Seattle, because I think that just makes a ton of sense. Got another defensive lineman to talk about here at number 8, and that's going to be John Franklin Myers of the Denver Broncos, the former...
Pretty sure he's coming back. With all the press conferences and stuff that who's playing in the Super Bowl, Seahawks, Patriots. But the way John was talking, it sounded like he was coming back. It sucks. I kind of want him to like take a little pay cut, try to help us sign some guys, but I think he's coming back. So
New York Jet has been vital to the Broncos' elite defense here in 2024 and in 2025. Now that they're playing in the AFC Championship game, they're going to need Franklin Myers to step up with some others, because who knows how Jared Stidham is going to play against New England. And if he plays well for now, 7.5 sacks this year for Franklin Myers in Denver, playing on that defensive line with Zach Allen and Nick Bonito. He had 15 QB hits, 6 tackles for loss, and I believe the 29-year-old is going to get paid this offseason. He's going to get a very high dollar amount. These defensive linemen go for a little bit more than we initially think, and he could be making more than $20 million a year. Coming in at number 7, I have an offensive tackle of the Green Bay Packers, Rasheed Walker, the former 7th-round pick back in the 2022 draft, is going to be hitting free agency at the perfect time. 25 years old. He's played over 900 snaps at the left tackle position over the last 3 years, and he's really...
I also like Rasheed Walker, too. I don't know, bro. Like, I think, like, we got to keep upgrading our line, bro. I say it all the time because I play Madden. An offensive line is so important.
Been very healthy for them, and that is huge for these offensive linemen in free agency. He's been healthy for the last 3 years, and he's not a liability in pass protection whatsoever. A good offensive tackle hitting the market at 25 years old, yeah, that is going to result in a very big contract when you hit free agency. We saw the dollar amount Dan Moore got last year, who wasn't very good really in Pittsburgh, and he hit the market as a 26-year-old, and he got $82 million from the Titans last offseason. I think Walker could maybe clear that, to be honest with you. Back-to-back Colts here, coming in at number 6 and number 5. So coming in at number 6, you probably guessed it, Alec Pierce. Yeah, when somebody said to me that Alec Pierce could get $20 million on the open market a couple months ago, I said, what? Are we talking about the same Alec Pierce here? But the season he just had, I get it now. If you make Alec Pierce like a true number 1 deep threat, maybe with a different quarterback as well, just think how good his numbers could be. He had 1,000 yards this year on just 47 receptions. This guy gets open downfield more than almost anybody else in the National Football League. He averaged 20.
I would like to see him paired with Bo Nix. I would like to see that. I would like to see it, but I think we can get better. Unfortunately.
1.3 yards per reception. He had 84 targets, 6 touchdowns. He was averaging around 67 yards per game. And he could actually get over $70 million throughout 3 to 4 years. He could make an argument that he should make more than Michael Pittman, who's getting paid $23 million on average. I doubt the Colts tag him, but they could definitely go that route as well. And Pierce at 25 years old does feel like he's due to be a wide receiver 1 and make that type of money on the open market.
You saved one of my weeks in fantasy. He had like 40 points. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I think the Broncos can get a better receiver, but that could be a sneaky sign. I could see the Broncos signing him, but it's like we have money, but we don't have that much money. We still have a lot of money on the books. That defense, like our defense is older.
And number 5. You guessed it, Daniel Jones of the Indianapolis Colts. Honestly, if Daniel Jones hit the open market for what he did throughout those 13 games throughout a full season, I probably have him at number 1, but since he tore his Achilles, I have to drop him a little bit. I have no idea what Chris Ballard is going to do in Indy. Do you tag Daniel Jones? Maybe something the Giants should have done after the 2022
it's gonna be
season
a closer
when he
game
beat Minnesota
saying,
and he got $40 million a year. That contract didn't age too well. Daniel Jones had 19 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He had an 8-5 record before tearing his Achilles. 3,100 passing yards. On the ground, he was still effective, 164 yards, but maybe not as effective as he was in years past because Daniel Jones has dealt with the neck injuries, and now you're adding an Achilles tear as well, which makes him one of the more polarizing free agents on the open market. I can't see him not being back in Indy. It was the best quarterback play they have had since Andrew Luck, honestly, better than Phillip Rivers the first time around, Matt Ryan, Jacoby Brissett, Carson Wentz, better than all of those guys. It's just, how is he going to look off that Achilles tear? But if he plays like he did in weeks 1 through 10, it's a no-brainer to give him any dollar amount he wants. Coming in at number 4, he was traded at the deadline this year. I have Jalen Phillips of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I wonder if they're going to pay him when he hits the open market as well, because Phillips was very good leading up to the trade and was very good in Philadelphia as well. He thrived under Vic Fangio, and the Eagles gave up a third-round pick knowing that they can get a comp pick back for him if he does lead them in free agency. He finished off the season having 5 sacks in 17 games, but injuries have definitely hurt Phillips throughout his career. He was so good in 2022 and then suffers a major injury in 2023 and in 2024. But if he's going to show to everybody that he's healthy now like he did in 2025, he's going to make a lot of money on the open market. So coming in at number 3, I have Tyler Linderbaum of the Baltimore Ravens. Linderbaum is one of the best interior offensive linemen in the NFL. You can make an argument he's maybe the second best center, third best center in the NFL as well. He's been a Pro Bowler each of the last 3 seasons for Baltimore. Ravens could definitely tag Tyler Linderbaum as well. And you'd love to tag Tyler Linderbaum, but he's eligible as an offensive lineman in the tag department, so that's $27 million. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for the Ravens to tag him, and they didn't pick up his 5th-year option because it's a lot of money for a 5th-year option for an offensive lineman, specifically a center, because he was going to be making about $5.5 million more if the Ravens picked up that 5th-year option than he would over the highest paid center already. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to pay somebody on their rookie contract like that. I don't think Baltimore can let him out of the room, so we'll see what Eric DeCosta does over the next few weeks. So coming in at number 2, the number 1 defensive free agent in my opinion, Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals, and it does feel like Hendrickson will finally be on a new team in the 2026 NFL season. He wanted a new deal from Cincinnati for a few years. He never got it. He had 17.5 sacks in back-to-back years in 2023 and in 2024, but he was banged up for the Bengals.
And this was such a thing in the all season where the draft picks were coming in and being like, what are we doing signing wise? Why are we not giving these dudes money? Why are you taking stuff out of my contract? So I definitely see him leaving.
In 2025 100%. Also didn't have a lot of help on that defensive line either. He had 4 sacks in 7 games. Hendrickson signed a 1-year $29 million contract with the Bengals. They renegotiated his average year salary, but he didn't get that long-term deal. He didn't get $100 million that he thought he would on the open market, and now he's already 31 years old. I think he's going to get a really good contract and an expensive contract, but maybe not as high as the one he originally thought he would get. And yeah, coming in at number 1, I have George Pickens of the Dallas Cowboys. He's hitting free agency as a 24-year-old.
We could get George Pickens, bro. If we can get George Pickens, oh man, that would be so great. George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, you keep Franklin, you keep Elijah. Man, that would be so nice, bro. We wouldn't even have to draft a wide receiver. We could draft Sadiq. Oh my goodness, bro. We have to get George Pickens. Goodness.
He just made a Pro Bowl. He just had the best year of his career, with maybe for the first time in his career actually having competent quarterback play. Like outside of a couple Russell Wilson games, George Pickens thrived with Dak Prescott this year more than he ever did with Justin Fields or Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph in Pittsburgh. He had 1,429 yards as a Cowboy this year, 93 catches, 137 targets, 9 touchdowns as a 24-year-old. He thrived as the number one when CeeDee Lamb missed time, and this makes him one of the more interesting free agents because Dallas doesn't have a lot of cap to work with. Now, they didn't extend Micah Parsons. They traded him, but they traded for Quinnen Williams. They're paying CeeDee Lamb already a lot of money. They're paying Dak Prescott a lot of money as well. Some of these offensive linemen are going to hit free agency very soon. Could this be a tag and trade? Could this be an extension? We'll have to wait and see. Either way, though, I do believe that George Pickens is the number one free agent on the market this offseason, and I'm fascinated to see what team he's on next year. So that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did,
great video by Matthew, man. Great analysis, great video. Definitely go watch his video. Had a nice, like, football animation. Nice. But yeah, make sure you guys go watch that because that was actually informative. I pretty much agreed with all of them. There were some where it was like, I could see them just staying with the same team. But yeah, this is good. And then, did he have anything, like, newer on his channel? Ooh, he did. So he has the mock draft and then what every team needs to do. So we'll watch this at a later time. I'm going to save it.